So let's take the case of awareness. What happened to awareness during deep sleep? We say awareness is always there, it's always the same. Everybody can agree. Awareness now, awareness 10 minutes ago, awareness 10 hours ago, or 1 year ago, or any time, it would be about the same. It's just a capacity, it's transparent, there is no feature. So there is no possibility of any evolution, any change, and so it's always the same. But what happened to awareness when there is deep sleep? Any clue?
It's still there. It doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go. But maybe what could be said is like, from the question that we have before, we know that within this waking state right now, there is a mechanism that is called awareness knowing itself. You know, that means there is a kind of a mirror effect. I know, and I know that I know. And I exist, I know that I exist. I'm aware, and I'm aware that I am aware. So this is a kind of reflexive, and that's allowing the story to unfold. But this awareness, it's like a mirror. You put the mirror in front of awareness. The question is asked. The mirror gives back the information. Yes, I am aware. I am aware. Awareness is aware to be aware. And maybe what is suggested here, that's might be giving a better indication. Suddenly, the mirror goes away because it's called night sleep, it's called deep sleep, and it seems I'm not aware, awareness is not aware of itself anymore. But this awareness stays all the time. And that's why when you say awareness is there, it doesn't know itself, but there is absolutely no discontinuity between all the three states, whether it's waking state, dreaming state, or deep sleep state. So that's the definition of Turiya, that everybody, I'm sure, here knows, which is called a fourth state, which is not a state, which is this. And then that's deep sleep without any objects. And then there is the world appears, and the world is the mirror. The world is the mirror. It's basically the same awareness that pretends to be a room with people and stuff. And that's the waking state. And then, again, the mirror goes away. And but this mirror is the same in all cases. It's a single, it's not engaged in time, so we cannot say it's always there. It is before time and space. Within that, there is a kind of springing of life. Let's say in the morning, I'm practical, morning, you're in your bed, totally unaware of the situation. And then it's time to wake up. There is a ringer or whatever, noise, etc. And it's the beginning of the day. So what happens? The first thing is that immediately, and it's almost never noticed, is that there was something before that suddenly gets aware of itself. That means there is a kind of continuity, and suddenly there is a kind of reflective event. I know that I am. And that's very short, because very quickly what happens is that there is another reading of life, which is duality. Oh, I am Didier in a bed, waking up in the morning. And that's how the identification goes on, and that's how the story gets, in a way, believable, because otherwise it will not be. But then my proposition here is that not only you go into sensing that there is no discontinuity on the awareness side, but also when in the morning there is a wake-up call from the cows outside or whatever, when there is this first awareness knowing itself, I wake up, I am. This I is totally devoid of any feature. So it's pure I, because that's the tipping point of what's going to come after. And then from this one, if there is I'm describing, I'm not prescribing, I'm describing, if there is a possibility of staying with that, the day will actually unfold perfectly well with Didier moving from the bed, doing its stuff, going to work, doing duty. And there is no requirement of this I that knows itself directly to be located or to be glued or to be put on a sticker at any specific place within the story of Didier's life. It's just the habit. It's just a habit. Does it make sense? I mean, at least intuitively, because it's something that it's just the creation of the duality. It's happening in the morning in bed every day, and maybe one day it's not going to happen anymore. And then what? Then what? Is it a special state? Is it a special power, special cities? It's not. It's just something that's missing. Now we're talking about loss here. So what is missing? Do you really believe that if in the morning, while waking up to their life, the identification will not happen, nothing will happen? Since that is the illusion, not the world. The world is not an illusion, but that is an illusion that goes away, nothing changes, correct? The disappearance of something that doesn't exist. But there is a kind of a fear, correct? If I'm not in control, if I'm not taking the decision, I'm going to stay in bed the whole day, and my boss is going to shout at me. But why not? That's the guy here, advisor, with the wheel here, saying, try it. Try it. I'm describing my own path here. Huh? Ramesh told me, try it. And I said, yeah, well, I'm too busy reading your books.
Did you say try to stay in bed?
No. No, that's not possible, because the body will just move on, go to the next action, to the next action. Because the so-called center person that is controlling the body to move, to do its day, it doesn't exist in the first place. So in my case, it's not from the bed story. It is from another angle, which basically was about the same. It was just kind of, shall I play a game? It's a game. Because if it's taken seriously, there is too much fear, there is too much resistance, there is too much unknown. It's a jungle, it seems, or it's a kind of a death, suicide, something like that. So let's not talk about suicide. Let's talk about a game of pretending I'm not in control, I'm not there, and see what happens. So at the beginning it feels like a bit artificial, okay, so what? And then suddenly there will be inputs coming from whatever life. Somebody calling you, some things to do, anything that can come. There would be a actual reaction of the body, moving into one direction, doing stuff, and a huge puzzlement again, to be totally amazed. But it's moving by itself. It's doing its stuff. So if it's doing its stuff, I've never been in control. This I am talking about. Okay? And that is what would be the first part of the discovery. And if it goes deeper and deeper, this realization that I have not been in control goes into the deep realization of there is nobody in control, which is very different.
Can you repeat that?
The first realization of, because life seems to be on autopilot. In the morning, I decided not to collaborate, and still the body wakes up, goes to work and does its thing. Okay, fine. So it seems that I am not in control, which is in between conclusion. Okay. But it's not useful in the sense that there is still this duality. We saw that of that which is not in control and that which is not controlled, the manifestation. So the next step of this exploration is to say, if what I am or who I am has no control, has no feature, no description, no size, is not engaged in time and space, this I, this existence, is it even part of this story? Or is it the constituent of the story? The matter of the story, because that's different. It seems that we have all small amount of consciousness inside each body and each mind and all that, and the cat a bit less, and the gecko a bit less, and the spider a bit less, and then you go to the plants and all that. This is not what we are talking about. It's not like sugar you put in water more or less, and it's it's just giving some taste. Nobody ever can be holder of any awareness. Only awareness is aware. And this awareness is not located nowhere in this room, actually. Not in any of the so-called heads, so-called hearts. There is just that. What everybody understands, it's intimate, it's quiet, it's silent, it is alive, it knows itself, and then it's not located. It feels located because there is a habit, but without the habit, where is it? Can you feel that? That the location is just a habit? Location in space and time also. So without this location, knowing by direct experience that I am is not part of this story, and that this whole story is not different from myself, because it's a modulation of this knowingness. I am aware, and awareness knows itself through the story that unfolds. Either directly, when are you aware? Yes, I am aware, that's a direct mirror. And there is a bigger mirror, which is basically the mirror of life. And every part reflects back to what I am. I am, and I know that I am through the room, the friends, the different concepts, the different percepts. It's a reversal, it's a total reversal. And still, that's the funny part, that it doesn't change anything, because the reversal is a reversal of something that was just pure imagination. It's not a real thing. It's imagining that we exist as people. I use often the image for the one who know the movie. I'm into movies also. Men in Black. I don't know if you saw the movie Men in Black, with the little gremlins that are actually the aliens from space, and they found a way to invade Earth by disguising themselves into a human body and being inside. So they look from inside, and they have this kind of binocular from inside the head. They're small, tiny things, like that size, behind the eyes, and they look around, and they have commands to command the arms, the legs. So that's the little gremlin commanding the body, seeing outside, being aware inside, and having a world outside, is our representation of who we are. And my proposition is the little gremlin has been only created by imagination. It's not real. Because even, let's say there is a little gremlin, so there will be another little gremlin inside, the first gremlin, a second one inside to see through the eyes, and then another one inside to see through the eyes. So why do we stop there? It doesn't hold even scientifically. So it's a very practical description of the general concept. Like Ramesh was saying, all is consciousness. So you might think, oh, it's a beautiful sentence, but it's not very practical. But actually, it was just bringing two wheels, round ones, saying use it and check for yourself. And unless it's done, unless actually each of us jump into that possibility, allow life to happen directly, without any interference, without any experience of somebody doing anything or being located anywhere or saying anything. And it happens all the time. I'm not saying that it's a special state. We could list so many times where action happens without any reference to the one who is doing anything, while driving a car, a motorbike, while washing dishes and cooking a cake. This is what I'm talking about. It's an absence. It's an utter, absolute absence of anybody that would be populating this story. This story is only made of one beautifully expressing substance, which we call presence, and it's not something that is alien to us. Presence is the most intimate. It's the most intimate evidence in our life. Is it not evident?
Je vais poser une question à partir de quelque chose que j'ai vécu il y a une vingtaine d'années. Je vais la raconter brièvement.
Okay, I'm just translating. So Claude is going to ask a question based on something he experienced 20 years ago.
C'est quelque chose qui est en rapport avec ce que tu as dit tout à l'heure sur le sommeil profond et tout de suite sur l'absence totale de moi-même.
Okay, it's based on what I said just before on the deep sleep state and on the utter absence of oneself.
J'ai été invité à participer à une puja à la fin d'un stage de yoga avec un yogi. Pendant cette puja, il y a eu un échange de regards où je me suis senti totalement reconnu.
So with a specific puja, there was a yogi and there was a kind of a glance at each other where Claude recognized himself.
Après cela, je suis allé me coucher, totalement épuisé, et au milieu de la nuit, du sommeil le plus profond, quelque chose m'a réveillé, et je me suis retrouvé plus identifié à ma personne.
So what happened is that Claude became very tired about that or whatever it was. So he went to sleep, and then during the night he woke up without any identification to the story of Claude.
Il y avait un état de joie sans objet, une lucidité totale, une non-séparation avec le monde entier.
So there was a state of non-separation, full of joy and lucidity, clarity.
Ce que j'appelle l'état d'éveil. Ça a duré quelques heures et c'est parti.
So we call that the awakened state, and it lasted for a few hours and it got lost.
C'est quand l'état ordinaire est revenu que je me suis rendu compte de tout ce qui m'était arrivé.
So that's when he came back to the usual ordinary state, that he understood what happened during the night.
Donc, c'est dans le sommeil profond, dans l'inconscience totale, qu'il y a cet état d'éveil.
So that's within deep sleep. It's a kind of proof that in deep sleep, that's where this awakened state resides.
Et il n'y a aucun moyen pour que je le retrouve. Même quand je me réveille le matin,
So he says, Claude says, there is no way that I can get that back again.
la seule possibilité c'est que je disparaisse, puisque je n'étais plus là.
The,
Complètement disparu.
the only possibility is that I totally disappear because I was not there during that experience.
Alors, moi je ne suis pas dans le cas que tu décrivais au début, de quelqu'un qui fait beaucoup d'efforts, de recherche. J'attends que ça revienne, que ça me retombe du ciel.
So Claude says that he's not a real doer, a real practice yogi doing stuff to get that back. He's just waiting for that to come back by itself.
Avec le maximum d'écoute, de réceptivité.
With receptivity and listening.
Mais ça ne revient pas.
Yeah, it doesn't come back. Okay, that's really super. Thank you, Claude. That's really interesting because from there we can deduct a few things. Huh? And actually, what we are talking here is about looking at our own personal experience that you had, for example, that's one of them, and taking conclusions, but not conclusions from the mind. That's the first thing. Mind needs to conclude something, but conclusions that is so deep that it involves the totality of what we are. It's not just, okay, I understood that. It's not only I understood, but actually it is like that. That's what I'm talking about. So what happened during the deep sleep is that for whatever reason, it was a kind of glimpse of, and you're right, that's what we are talking about. And it seems to have disappeared. It seems. Your experience is, well, it's not there anymore. So can we, right now, all of us, try just relax and try to go, you can close your eyes if you want, try to go back to your last night and try to go back basically before the waking up in the morning, this morning, and just go rewind. We're working with the memory, doesn't matter. And then go to that place where there was no body. There was no Claude, there was no Didier, there was nobody there. So we are doing here a kind of a rewind process to find something that cannot be grasped by the mind, by anything. But don't you know deeply that this, which was there during the night, which cannot be named, which cannot be even tasted, is already happening right now here in this room, now, for all of us? The mind cannot go there, but there is a sense, there is a knowing. There is a knowing, there is something. This something that is here right now doesn't disappear during deep sleep. It is so close. There is no distance. It is so ourself. It has nothing to do with the body, nothing to do with the mind, nothing to do with the stories. Nothing to do with any of the happening, and still it is exactly us. Not as a separate being, as a separate human, but as this source, as this matter, as this ground of being that's there all the time, all the time, all the time. Why is it there all the time? Because it's not in time. Time appears within that. Deep sleep appears within that. Waking state appears within that. And during waking state, there is some strange happening that this knowing, this ground of being that is so evident, suddenly is, for whatever reason, put in jail inside a head, inside a chest, inside a body, and is assigned into jail. And is located in this story, and is in time and space. And then immediately there is a sense of limited consciousness, limited awareness, limited beingness within a limited body. And then the nightmare can start. So if it's felt deeply, at the same time, can we understand that nobody can get awakened or enlightened? It's ridiculous. That we are spin stories of forgetfulness, recognition, getting lost, found itself. But at the end, nothing ever has been lost, ever. And it doesn't depend on one of the elements of the dream, well, I call that a dream, but of the waking state, let's say. If it's a nice chap, a nice lady, a lot of knowledge, no knowledge, it's irrelevant. Can you see that it's not related to anything of that? It's not the end of the road for somebody. It's the end of this somebody. Can see. And if the giggling comes, that's really a good sign. And with this discovery, there is a sense of peace, which is the Ananda we talk about. So I am, I know that I am, and in that knowledge, I know that the peace is, and not the peace that depends on any of the story for unfolding in a good way, in a bad way, it's not required. It is purely the joy of being.